The house stood alone on Black Hollow Road, swallowed by the woods that had grown too close to its rotting walls. For decades, it had been abandoned, at least, that's what the town said. The stories were older than anyone alive, whispered in the corner of bars or told in a dare around bonfires. People swore they saw lights in the windows, though no power lines ran that far into the forest. Others claimed to have heard screaming when the wind pushed too hard against the trees. Most dismissed it as folklore. But not Tyler. Tyler was 17, restless, and looking for something to break the boredom of his small town. His friends egged him on, "Stay one night there and we'll pay you $200. Easy money, he thought. Just an empty house. Nothing to it. He didn't tell his parents. He just slung his backpack over his shoulder, flashlight, sleeping bag, snacks, and his phone, and walked down Black Hollow Road at dusk. The first hour. The house looked worse up close. Its shutters clung desperately to rusted hinges, and the porch sagged under the weight of years. Carvings littered the wood, strange symbols he didn't recognize. Some looked fresh, as if carved only days ago. Tyler swallowed hard but pushed inside. The front door groaned as though it hadn't been opened in decades. The smell hit him first, damp wood, mold, and something faintly metallic, like rust, or blood. The first floor was a mess of broken furniture and torn wallpaper. The ceiling sagged where rain had bled through. Rats scattered when his flashlight beam crossed the floor. But nothing screamed haunted. He set up camp in the living room, unrolled his sleeping bag, and laughed into the silence. "This is it," he muttered to himself. "Easiest 200 ever." But then came the first sound. A shuffle upstairs. Slow, deliberate. Tyler froze. "Probably an animal," he whispered, gripping his flashlight. The house was old, raccoons, maybe. Rats. Nothing to worry about. Except raccoons didn't walk with footsteps. The second hour. The sun was gone now, the forest outside silent as though holding its breath. Tyler sat upright in his sleeping bag, eyes fixed on the ceiling. Every so often, the sound returned, footsteps, pacing back and forth above him. He told himself not to check. Not to look. That's how horror movies started. But the silence was worse than the noise, pressing against him until his skin prickled with sweat. Finally, he grabbed his flashlight and crept up the stairs. Each step whined beneath his weight. The upstairs hallway stretched before him, lined with closed doors. "Hello?" he called, hating the way his voice cracked. Something answered. From behind the farthest door came a soft, dragging sound, like fingernails scraping wood. Tyler's gut screamed to run, but his legs carried him forward. The door handle was cold, ice cold, as if it had been pulled from a freezer. He turned it slowly. The door opened an inch, two, then slammed shut from the other side with such force that dust exploded into the hallway. Tyler stumbled back, heart hammering, and ran. He didn't stop until he was back downstairs, gasping for air. Midnight. His phone had no service. No texts, no calls. He thought about leaving, but his pride wouldn't let him. His friends would never let him live it down. So he stayed. The house seemed to breathe around him. Boards shifted, walls creaked, and the wind outside rattled what was left of the windows. Tyler tried to eat some chips, but they tasted like ash in his mouth. That was when the lights began. From the corner of the living room, his flashlight caught a flicker. At first he thought it was dust, but no, the light pulsed, faint and white, like a candle burning behind the wall. Then another pulse, and another. Slowly, the outline of a figure appeared, a woman, pale and blurred, standing just beyond the edge of his vision. "Who's there?" Tyler whispered. The figure tilted its head. And smiled. Not with lips, she had none, but with a grin carved deep into her skin, jagged and bleeding, stretching from ear to ear. Tyler screamed and scrambled for the door. but it wouldn't budge. He pulled, yanked, slammed his shoulder into it, but the wood might as well have been iron. The house wasn't letting him out. The basement. The footsteps returned, louder now, circling him from above and below. Desperate, Tyler ran through the kitchen, searching for another exit. That's when he found the basement door. It stood wide open, though he swore it had been closed earlier. The air that rose from below was freezing, thick with rot. Something whispered his name. Not a voice, exactly, more like the echo of one. It came from below, calling gently, coaxing him down. He told himself not to go. But his feet moved anyway. The basement stairs groaned with every step. His flashlight flickered, the beam cutting through a darkness thicker than anything he had ever seen. The air pressed against him, heavier with every breath. At the bottom, the basement opened into a wide stone chamber, far larger than the house above should have allowed. Symbols covered the walls, carved deep into the rock. And in the center stood a well. The whispering grew louder. Tyler approached, trembling, his flashlight shaking in his grip. He peered into the well. Eyes stared back. Hundreds of them, wide and wet, glistening in the dark. They blinked in unison, and the whispering became a scream that filled his head. The last thing Tyler remembered was falling into that endless pit of eyes. The morning after. When his friends came the next morning, the house was silent. The front door hung open, but inside was empty. Tyler's sleeping bag lay crumpled in the living room. His backpack sat half open. His flashlight, cracked. But no Tyler. The police searched the woods, the house, even the old well in the basement. They found nothing. Yet sometimes, when the wind blew just right through Black Hollow Road, people swore they could hear him screaming. And if you looked closely at the upstairs window, just past midnight, you might see a pale figure with a jagged smile staring back at you.